I'm here with Robin Lattimore, and he is one of the authors of this extraordinary book, Southern Splendor, and the subtitle tells us everything, Saving Architectural Treasures of the Old South. Robin, thank you for coming to Jackson and doing the events that you've got here. You'll be at Lemuria, you'll be at History is Lunch, and you were also at Square Books over the weekend. Was it Friday?
It was indeed, yes.
Okay. Good.
I'm delighted to be here. Everything's been great since we arrived.
Outstanding. And you're from South Carolina originally?
North Carolina. Just a few miles north of the border.
Okay. And tell us about the division of labor in this book. Marc Matrana, an author of ours, is part of the team, and you're part of the team. And then we've also got an author from Georgia who is part of the team. Mm-hmm. How did you all divide up the responsibilities?
Well, Marc Matrana, Michael Kitchens, and I had been friends and colleagues kind of in the past, and our work crossed paths because we were all interested in the same subjects. And so
you're reading each other's books.
We're reading each other's works, kind of visiting the same places, and sometimes literally being in the same place at the same time. And so because of that, we were aware, we knew each other. The project started out as a collaboration between Marc and myself, and we were going to do the book, just the two of us. And then we realized that I was in the Upper South, in the Carolinas and Virginia.
Yep.
Marc was in the Deep South, and we needed someone in the middle. So we got in touch with Michael Kitchens, and he said that he would enjoy doing Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee if we did the other ends of the South. And so all of a sudden it became a three-way project with us tag teaming this together. And then so for 3 years we gathered information, shared notes, read each other's work, and then pulled that together into one unified project.
Oh, how wonderful. Almost like a set of editors within a book before it ever reaches editors.
It was fun because that gave us a sense of sharing the work and giving ideas, and because even though we were each writing our own particular region, in most cases, because we had all visited other properties, we could say, well, what do you think about this? And we gave our perspective to our other.
Right. And each of you do something else besides being an author. Michael Kitchens runs his own law firm in Georgia, and Marc is extraordinary. He had been at Ochsner Medical Center, and now he's what hospital?
Well, no, he's at Ochsner now. He
Ochsner again.
He was MD Anderson, and then
MD Anderson,
and now to Ochsner. Yes.
Yeah. So extraordinary that he does this in addition to being a great oncologist and surgeon and thinker and healer, and you teach school, right?
I do. I'm a high school teacher and librarian at a classical academy in North Carolina, and that gives me an opportunity a lot of times to share in the classroom the work that I'm doing through my research projects. It allows me an opportunity to share with millennials and our current high school students some of my passion for this subject, but also to try to find in literary ways things that go along with history to pull it all together, cross-curriculum, so that we're talking about history, literature, all those types of things together in the classroom.
Wonderful. Now, what were the sort of criterion for you to include a home in this book? We should make clear that, as the subtitle indicates, saving these homes is what this is about, and each of the homes exists. They have been saved through extraordinary efforts of families and people who just love great architecture, because it is a hard thing to do, to take one of these on and bring it back to life.
Well, it is, and I think one of the things that's there is that a lot of times iconic Southern antebellum architecture looks very commanding, but in reality these houses are fragile relics, and they're vulnerable to neglect and decay and fire and ruin, and through the years we've lost thousands and thousands of them. And what we wanted to do was to highlight specific homes and properties that mostly had either been nearly on the brink of being gone, or at some point in their past were on the road to demolition, or were in a situation where the economy was so bad they were left and abandoned for years and years, and then somebody brought them back. So that was our principal criteria. We wanted houses where the restoration project, either as an authentic restoration or a loving restoration, at least made the home habitable again, was preserved in some manner, and in often cases opened and shared with the community. A significant part of what we did, I think, was to show how these houses are a tremendous part of the economy of the local communities where they are, where they're helping for tourism, they're venues for a lot of special events, and then also most of these houses represent something that is extremely important to the history and heritage of the community, and without them, that chapter would be lost. And so that gave us really a plan of what we wanted to accomplish.
Okay. And it is indeed, that's a very interesting way to think about it. An archive is a sort of trapped thing in which there are one-dimensional documents that you can look at. But a house is a living thing.
It is indeed.
You can go visit. Now, let's talk about the interior of the book a little bit, because it is so spectacular. And I want you to direct me to one of your favorite homes here.
Well, let me show you.
Let's just show what is included inside the book.
If we look in North Carolina, for instance, we were able to use photographs, a lot of wonderful interiors of individual rooms, and such a lovely display here and design for this book. It really allowed us to show the tremendous, I think, color photography that's here. We had two principal photographers, Jacques Levay Jr. and Leslie Bush. They both took photographs, as well as some other photographers throughout the South. And unlike a lot of projects, Michael, Marc, and I all were photographers for the project. And you can do that when you've got 300 really special photographs. We compiled those.
Oh, so you had how many to choose from?
Well, altogether there were more than 1,200 photographs that we could have, used, and we had to really bring that down to a manageable 300. So everyone got really represented well. The other thing is the type of book that it is gave us an opportunity to show a lot of vintage photographs. And one of the best ways to convey how much of a dire situation many of these homes were in was to show some of the conditions.
Yeah, there's a little bit of condition.
You see
the
that.
paint is a little
Well,
bit,
and then you see some.
Got even worse.
You do. You see a lot of homes where they were nearly, the house itself was just nearly gone.
Now, how did you go about the work of, and you do such a marvelous job of it, all three of you do, of telling the story of the original family who built the home, and really just telling the story of the people who love and save these places, the builders, those who love the places and live in them, and then also those who save them. How did you go about that work? Where did you find that?
Well, I think what we did was we approached the whole project as a narrative history, a social, cultural history, so that we were looking at trying to find the stories of the people first who were responsible for the restorations or saving the project, saving the property. And their stories were so rich, oftentimes, of the sweat and the hard work and the tears and all of that go into working with a historic home. And from that, that became the umbrella over the actual historical story of the original families, how the homes were constructed, the shared history of the African Americans on the property, along with other artisans and craftsmen, and how that across the 19th into the 20th century allowed us to still have these pieces today. And
how many homes are featured? And this is...
There are 50 homes.
Okay, and they are all the states of the Deep South. Are there Arkansas homes?
No, it's Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, as well as Tennessee and Kentucky.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right, well, we've been talking with Robin Lattimore, and this is his wonderful book, Southern Splendor, and thank you so much for spending time with us, Robin.
Well, we appreciate it very much.
All right.